Welcome back to Julie's Village. I'm glad you're here. In this episode, I'm going to continue on with the next basic reading skill, which is phonics. So, in previous episodes, we talked about concepts of print, which helps students and children to understand the directionality of writing, writing in the environment, the fact that writing has meaning. Then we talked about hearing sounds in words, being able to break those sounds apart, put those sounds together to form words. And all of that is important for this next part, which is phonics, which kind of brings those two together, where a child can hear a sound and connect it with the symbol or symbols that make that sound. I say symbols because sometimes it takes two letters or more than two letters even to make one sound. For instance, SH says sh and ING says ing. Those are multiple letters that say one sound. So in this next part, this next phase of reading and understanding the written world around us, a student or a child, again, needs to be able to hear those individual sounds. So if that phonological awareness piece isn't there yet, if they are still struggling with hearing those individual sounds, you're going to want to keep working on that even as you're introducing this idea of these printed letters being associated with those specific sounds. So, a big part of that, first of all, is knowing the names of letters. If a child doesn't know that that symbol that makes an A is the letter A, then when you ask them to point to A, or when you say write an A, or in this case, that ah sound that you're hearing is made by the letter A, all of that are circumstances when they're going to need to know what the letter A is. So, the very first thing that you do with this idea of phonics is teaching the names of letters. And in our language, we have both uppercase and lowercase letters. So, you want your child to be able to identify the uppercase and the lowercase. Oftentimes, people begin by teaching those uppercase letters. That is just fine. You can start with uppercase or lowercase. Oftentimes, those uppercase letters are easier to write, and that is part of teaching those uppercase letters first. So there's lots of different ways that you can teach this. Some ideas that I can share with you are just one of the main ones that I would do is going on letter walks. So in a print-rich environment, whether that's your home, maybe in a school building, or maybe somewhere like at a church building or a store where there's lots of labels, I would help a student or a child know the letter that we were looking for, or maybe multiple letters. Maybe you're working on all vowels, or you're working on the first five letters, and so you're all looking to see when you can spot the letters A, B, C, and D in this environment. And you can make a game out of it, like whoever finds the most C's today gets a little treat at the end, or gets to choose what movie we watch tonight, or something like that. Another thing that I would do is I would write the letters on little cards, like 3x5 cards, and attach a paper clip to them, and then tie a magnet to a string, attach that string to a stick, and we would go fishing for the letters. When they caught a letter, they could pick it up. If they could say the letter name, they got to keep it. If not, I would tell them what it was, and then they had to throw it back in the pond and fish again. I would do similar games where I would hide letters around the room written on those same cards, and the student or child needed to go and find the letter. And once again, if they were able to correctly say the letter name, they kept the letter. If not, then I would rehide it and they had to find it again. So those are just some ideas of things that you can do for identifying letter names. The next thing that you want to teach is the letter sounds. So, even before that, you might want to make sure that they can match the uppercase and the lowercase. Putting them with their correct buddies. Chicka chicka boom boom is a great way to teach that concept that lowercase and uppercase are partner. It's the same letter, just a different way of writing it. You can do puzzles. There's different puzzles that you can get that match, have an uppercase and then a lowercase. Again, you could play those finding games, but they've got to match it now. Got to match it with their the letters with their partner. So once you've done that, then you can play the same games and do the same type of activities, but now you're switching to sounds. There's lots of videos also. There's plenty of YouTube videos and educational videos out there that teach letter names and letter sounds and do a lot of repetition. That is key for this stage especially if you don't have a child who has a photographic memory or picks up information really quickly. If there is any kind of learning disability present, whether it's diagnosed or not yet, then that frequent and consistent repetition are going to be so helpful. But the more that you can make it novel, fun, creative, incorporate lots of different colors and movement and activities, that is going to be helpful. There's lots of silly songs out there. There are lots of different companies that have done actions and movements to help with letter names or letter sounds. You can look up those. Many of those are available on YouTube or other platforms. So once you have shown letter names and you've taught letter sounds, an important part here, even though this is often considered separate, I usually put these together, and that is writing letters. If they can identify letters and they know their sounds, the next piece is, can they write the letters? It makes sense to me to teach reading and spelling and writing hand in hand together. They're such closely related skills. So the next thing that I would do is now, okay, if I make the sound, can you give me the letter? Or if I give you the letter name, can you write the letter? Again, you want to be able to do this with upper and lowercase. There's lots, again, fun things you can do with this. Shaving cream on a table, using multiple colors, calling it rainbow writing. You can use popsicle sticks. There's different things out there that have, usually if you have C-shaped letters or wood blocks, they can be flipped either way. So two of them together can make an O, and then long straight and short straight. There are companies out there that sell those pre-made blocks that have the straight sticks, the C shape. You can put a forward C and a backward C together to make the S shape. That can help as well if you have a child that really likes to build. If you have a child that really enjoys Legos, then doing more of this block idea can be very helpful. Wet sponge on a chalkboard, chalk on a chalkboard. Those are great strategies for teaching writing because they're much more tactile. There's much more input going into the hand as they're writing. Finger paint. Then going to that actually grasping a crayon, a pencil, a paintbrush, whatever it is. That is going to help with those fine motor skills that come with writing as well. So first, again, teaching those letter names and those letter sounds after they've mastered or are showing that they are starting to pick up on this idea of hearing individual sounds. Then they can start identifying letters, pointing them out, the uppercase and lowercase names and sounds, and then you giving names and sounds, and they are producing the letter. One other thought I just had is Play-Doh. Many children love to play with Play-Doh unless there's a texture thing, but being able to roll out the Play-Doh into long strands and then using those long strands to create letters is also something that I often had students respond really well to. All of that together is phonics. And if you have any other ideas that you have found helpful for teaching or helping a child to learn these sound to symbol correspondence skills, or if you have questions, I invite you to leave that in the comments. If you have other questions about other topics, recommendations for future topics, or suggestions for people that you would like to see interviewed in future episodes, I invite you to leave that in the comments as well. If this information was helpful to you, I invite you to like, share, subscribe. All of that helps make this information more accessible to others who might need it. Thank you so much for letting me be part of your village.